two, one สวัสดีค่ะขอต้อนรับเข้าสู่ It's All About Serverless Podcast Welcome to It's All About Serverless Podcast the podcast where we explore story insight from people driving innovation in tech from cloud computing to career transition and the world of serverless we are here to help you to take your next step in technology I'm your host Natagan Futum. Today, I'm excited to welcome Suzana Melo, an AWS community builder and active leader in global AWS and women in tech communities. Suzana has supported and organized AWS user group across Sweden, New Zealand, and beyond, including the AWS Women User Group Sweden, AWS User Group Stockholm, and AWS Gain. She worked as a volunteer as a teacher and serves as a social media specialist for women in tech Sweden. Alongside her community work, she brings hands-on experience with TypeScript, Next.js, React, Node.js, and AWS serverless services, all supported by strong foundation in communication, storytelling, and people-focused skills. Susanna, welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me, for having me here. I'm over the moon. I'm super happy.
I'm glad to hear that. Shall we start with the conversation?
Let's go.
Yeah, so your journey blend communication, tech, and community leadership. How did you first discover your interest in technology and what motivate you to pursue career in this field?
Well, so many things happened that lead me to this outcome. So, first of all, I'm from New Zealand. I'm now in Sweden, but I'm from New Zealand, made in Brazil. And back in the days in Brazil, I worked for more than 20 years as in the communications area. So I was editor-chief in the biggest newspaper in my hometown for 8 years, and then I was media director of the police in my hometown for 3 years. Then I moved to New Zealand with no English, which I don't recommend. No one do that. Please don't do that. Don't do like me. You know the movies, like the scenes that you're going to see in this movie
Yeah.
cannot be reproduced at home. So like that, don't move countries without knowing the language. Please, please, please. But I did, and I survived. So while I was learning English, I worked with lots of different things. I started cleaning toilets because you don't need English to clean toilets. And then I drove a car because I was the only one that appears in front of this place, knocking the door and say, "Oh, I can drive your van because I know how to drive a manual car." I did a test driving and I got the job. Most cars in New Zealand are automatic. I worked as a checkout in a supermarket, but I ended up doing a boot camp. I
Mm.
started to do some tutorials and JavaScript and this kind of things. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, so exciting. And then, like a coding, a lot, of course, in the tutorials, everything works well. It's perfect, not like the real world. And then I was so passionate about it. Then I did a boot camp. And I thought I had English enough to do that. It wasn't the case. So the boot camp, like finished around 6, but we every night we stay during the exercises until 9 p.m. Everyone went to sleep, and I was watching the recorded classes with subtitles, closed
Mhm.
caption, to try to understand what they said, because some words, it was like a weird sound, made no sense. So I needed to read and Google. So I spent the whole boot camp going to sleep 3, 4 a.m. and 9 a.m. I was there again because I couldn't understand everything. Like the new words. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds crazy. So it was so insane. I cried a lot and I wanted to give up. but I had lots of support from my mentoring. So, and then I finally finished that. Uh, it was so hard that I was all the time thinking about others that are also experiencing the same. Like, it's not only me. And I remember one day I was in a group, and I explained something that I understood, and I was so surprised because I always felt super dumb, super behind during the classes. I had no tech background. English is not my first language. I'm old. All these things that we have in our mind. And this day I was explaining to my team that I was doing a task together. I was explaining something that I understood and no one else understood. And it was like, whoa, we have a different type of intelligence and understanding. We don't need to be senior to help others. We can help you with whatever we have to offer. Then I started to give back since this moment, since the beginning, because I say, if I understand something, I can explain to someone else and help someone else that maybe it doesn't have the same understanding. So it was like a wow. And then it's when my life with the community starts. So since the beginning, everything that I was learning, I went to, I don't know, junior developers, JavaScript meetup, wherever, and then say, oh, I learned this thing. Can I talk in your meetup? And they say, oh, yeah, you can come. And then I started to talk meetups. And as soon I graduated, I was already helping the full stack dev in New Zealand, which I helped to organize for 4 years while I lived there. So, and this is made me even more excited. Like I love to I was passionate to code and learning new things and also teach these things to the others. So this made me super passionate about what I was doing, and I think it was a total made such a difference in my life.
Wow. So yeah, 20 year, and then start with no English skill, and you start taking the boot camp, and then you feel like you faced with self-doubt, and then you finally finish the program, and start you see the value of you, like where you were, and you could help with other people, and then you start coaching with people. That's how, yeah, fascinating. So I like to start a little bit with the time when you start taking the boot camp with no English, and you have to Google what was what was like at that time back then. Like, were you how do you organize your time, and if you if you feel like someday you don't have motivation, what happened there, and how did you overcome that?
Oh, it happened many times, many
Mm-hmm.
times. But one thing that it was interesting because
Mm-hmm.
they also included lots of uh, tips on how you can manage your time.
Mm.
So yeah, so it was cool because they actually teach us in the boot camp how to use the Pomodoro timer.
Yeah.
And for me, it was life changing because I have lots of lack of concentration. I have several issues with that, but the Pomodoro helped me to measure the time, and then this time I was focused because I knew I would have a break, and then I realized that everything can wait 20 minutes, half an hour, and wait for the break. There is nothing so urgent. Well, luckily, that of course they are. Can happen that you stop everything. But I mean, usually when you lost your concentration, it's with things that really it's not that important, like Instagram, social media, or whatever. And then everything I will start, oh, okay, I have time to go in 5 minutes, so it can wait. And it helped me a lot to keep track on the content. And also, as I mentioned to you, at night I was Google because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I learned English working as a checkout in a supermarket, it was not enough to follow up the boot camp and having so many new words in my life because I had no tech background. But the most important thing that I got was mentors. So I remember I was, and it happened more than once. My one of my facilitators, Emily, she was super patient, and she got a whiteboard and sit on the floor with me and started to literally nudge, drop things and draw things and how the things work, and then diagrams. And then I remember Redux lesson. She was like with balloons and then showing the balloons how they go and it connect with the components, and also creating these associations from, like you explained, for our 5 years old. And of course I finished because of all this help. And then this is how mentoring can be crucial, and someone explain the things and have the patience to help you understand things. Yeah, it's not that you are not incapable, it's just you need to learn. And all those skills you can learn. You can learn JavaScript, Python. Once you get to the foundations, you can change for other programming language because the basic, it's the logic, it's similar. But the mentorship can make such a difference in your life, and it was for me. It was special. So I'm here because I had lots of help and mentorship. And again, this is why it motivates me to give back to the community, because I know how important it is.
How did you find mentor? Were you like work with your mentor, or how did you connect with them?
I asked. I told you I went to the meetups, and then I was like, okay, I needed to learn. So I went to the meetups and then showed the things that I'm doing. And I say, look, I wanted to improve that. So if anyone can give me advice or suggestion. And usually I found people that in the end of my presentation came to me and say, yeah, I think you could do that and that and that. And then say, cool, can I connect with you and ask you more questions about it? And some of those people became truly friends until now. They still my friends and they still mentor me. So don't be afraid to ask for mentoring, to ask if you are doing the things right, to ask for feedback. You will find people that is not going to help you, but we will find those treasuries that will help you to grow.
So when you met with mentor and you mentioned that they'll give you feedback, so how do you handle the feedback, and how do you know if something that, oh, this is a good feedback, and some of them don't? Like, how do you differentiate with that?
I think it's super important to don't take anything personal. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but it is important because the information is what matters. And then you take that information and then you analyze that if it suits you or not. Then you make a use of it. Know of the information that you are going to get, it's going to be helpful, but maybe this time not. But in a future, this person can give you another advice. So always be glad, always thank you, and always take and analyze if it suits you or not. So two things that you keep is don't take it personal. Analyze the information, but don't lose the mentoring. Maybe this time it's not helpful, but the other time it's going to be. So be glad and be thankful and respectful with the mentors. And the other thing that I always suggest for juniors, tech beginners, it's there is no silly questions. So don't be afraid to ask a question. However, it's important to do your homework. So things that you can Google, so please Google first. But things that you are struggling, you can go there and ask someone and give a context. I tried this, and this is not working. Then this person will, okay, I think I know what you are doing wrong, or they know when they can start from to help you. So give you context, give you what you did, something that I'm always willing to help anyone. But
Mm-hmm.
people that, like, stop you to ask you things that you can find the answer with 2 minutes in the Google, you are not being respectful with the time of your mentors. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something to be very mindful. And this is something that I always try to do. Like, for example, it was super hard for me to get my first job. I graduated just before the lockdown. So I spent 1 year. 1 year, New Zealand spent 2 years in lockdown. And the first year, we literally stay almost over the whole year inside the home, what they call level 4. Only one person of the family could go to the supermarket or the pharmacy. We couldn't be, I don't know how many meters, whatever, far from your home. So it was strict. And I spent a year crying and studying, crying, studying, crying, studying, because there is nothing else to do. You open the job advertisement website, there is no job advertisement. It was empty, as I never saw that in my life. So it was super hard. And what I did is studying and talking with mentors, and then looking for online events to join, online events that I could talk, online events that I could help to organize, and then I didn't stop at all. Otherwise, I'm gonna be depressed. I couldn't. I had no choice. I needed to fight. I needed to survive, and don't let myself down in this horrible situation. So it was super hard, but keep yourself busy all the time, applying all the time. Don't stop applying. Don't, even you are going to have 100, 300, 500 no's until you get your S. But always keep yourself busy in applying, because then you are not gonna, stop and let your mind thinking too much, and then let you be like, I don't know, pessimist about the reality, because job hunting, especially for juniors, is super hard. So, and then I keep all the time building projects and
Mm-hmm.
asking, email my mentors and say, oh, I built that. Can you have a look? Can you give him opinion? I'm struggling on this. So even online or in lockdown, I keep looking for more mentors, presenting my ideas online, and find people to help me.
So what did you mentioned that finding a job when you were like for a junior dev, and there's a lot of job in the market out there that's like, because sometimes when you get out of the school and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to work, but then there's just so many job in the market, and how do you narrow down like which one is best, or like best fits for you, and then which one don't, like how do you differentiate with that?
For junior developers, I would
Mhm.
say there is no many options. So
Mhm.
grab what you get and keep looking for.
Mhm.
You usually open the websites and they only like a senior developer, senior developer, senior developer. I really wonder how they can have future senior developers, because they only want senior developers. Uh, there is not enough senior developers in the world for that. But if I don't have the chance to start, how am I going to be senior one day? And then when you go there and you see what those seniors are doing every day, they do so many things that they could train a junior to do. It's most like the companies, they don't, I don't know, they don't think about, they only think about profit, not long-term things. Like you
Mhm.
can train a junior, then they will do exactly the thing that you want them to do. Sometimes you get a senior, he has a different mindset. He doesn't want to think the way that the company thinks. So train a junior and create your own senior. But so I would say, if you are a junior and then you get a job, whoa, amazing. What you can do, keep building, keep
Mhm.
going to wherever you can to show your job, connecting with people. So you create this cycle. I'm building, I'm showing, and I'm connecting even more to show to people what I'm doing, because you don't have experience. So you need to
Mhm.
have something to show. You need to have a project. You need to have a good GitHub. You need to create content. You need to do something that can stand you out of the crowd. So the company will say, oh my gosh, he can sort it, she can sort it, they can sort this problem for me. So you need to build a portfolio somehow to show
Mm-hmm.
your skills. Um, and and of course, I did a boot camp. I studied JavaScript and TypeScript. I'm not going to apply for a Java, but I actually
Mm.
I will, because if you, usually when you are hiring for junior or graduate, actually for graduates, when you are looking for graduates, the graduates can learn anything. You can train them for anything. So some companies, they don't mind which language you know. They know that we will learn.
Mm.
So yeah, apply for everything. If you are a graduate, go for everything, and then in the future, it's easy to change to another language if you want to, because
That's
the basics are the same. Conditionals, functions, it's all the same.
Yeah, that's a great advice because yeah, I can resonate. Like back then when I graduated, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Yeah, and then I did try COBOL, and then and later on, it's like okay, COBOL, and then I'm kind of done with it because it was a no and like old tech stack, and I decided to find something more modern. So yeah, that's why I switched my career. Okay, so I like to because I know that you are a speaker, and I've seen so many contents that on your LinkedIn, which is impressive, and I like to ask some question around that. How did you, so let's say that you have a talk coming up, right? How did you prepare for the talk? And then how did you come up with the topic? Because sometimes, like maybe there's a new AWS technology that you feel like, oh, like for example, AI. How did you plan for that?
Yeah, I work mainly on my comfort zone, I would say, so quite lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I offer to the, I offer what I have to offer. So, and I think my life it's kind of built around it. So, oh, fun fact, let me tell you something. How I ended up knowing about AWS and cloud, and now I talk about AWS and cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working this graduate program in my first company. It was a huge telecom, but it was like I spent months fixing small CSS bugs, and I felt like I'm not learning. So then I came, okay, 1 year after, and then I saw, no. Lots of things are happening on the meetups, and I'm not learning those things. I'm not working with those things. So I needed to change. And I went to a startup. And I remember that in my interview, I was like, oh, I really want the chance to learn back end and do cool stuff and then learn things. And I got the job. And they were like, oh, and then I first started the job, and they're like, oh, you are going to have the opportunity to learn about everything, because in startup you do everything, especially doing small ones. And now you are going to do front end, back end. This is your first task. We have this new project where we already did the create project part. So it's going to be easy for you to understand what the create does and then do the update part. So what you need to do is you go there, you need to create an endpoint and then write a Lambda that is going to talk with DynamoDB, grab the project to do the update. And it was like, hold on. What is a Lambda? And I had no idea. And something that I always tell in my talks is like, until this day, Amazon for me, it's a place to buy books. I had no idea what was Lambda or what is anything like that. DynamoDB, S3 buckets, what is that? So then I tried to learn those things, and then I found the Cloud App, which was a program for women to learn cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined that. So, and I was fascinated about it because it was my second job. And then until then, I was thinking like, okay, to move to the technology field, you need to be a software developer. And then, no, you don't. You can be, cloud opens so many different opportunities and possibilities for you, like a sales project or solutions architect, then or even cloud developer, serverless developer. So many different things. And I was fascinated about it. So everything that I learned, I went there and give a talk until the moment that I realized we didn't have any space for tech beginners learning cloud, because there is already a user group in Auckland, but all the levels are super advanced. I went there and I was understanding anything. Then I found more two friends, community builders, and we got it together. And then we create a second one only for tech beginners and women. And so it's 100, 200 level, like a foundational and intermediate maximum, with some and we partner with AWS to run workshops and this kind of things. So, and both of them super successful, because it's different demands, different public, different attendees. So we still have the in Auckland, they are still having the advanced one and the beginner one, and both of them it's full house all the time. They do meetups, which is amazing. So it's the things that I'm going to talk, it's usually the things that I'm working with. I wanted to do, as you mentioned, I do a lot of things in different places. So I had articles in dev.to, I had articles in LinkedIn, I give in talks, and it was everything spread. So it was like, okay. And I told you also that I have a lack of concentration. So all the time I start a project, I stop in the middle because I lose the interest, or I'm overwhelmed about, oh my gosh, what am I going to use? And then I became so overwhelmed, then I put my side project goes to the side, to the pile. And then I started to use Amplify. And I was fascinated because like in few clicks, my project was alive. And I had this blog and I could put everything only one place. And I was this is, people deserve to know about it. And then it became a talk and it became an article. So things that you work with, when you know the content, because you created that, it's easier for you to write an article about it, or to go to even a stage and talk about it. Things became even faster for content creators when they create their projects and talk about it. So this is how I organize my stuff. Things that I know what I'm talking about, so I'm able to teach someone. This is gonna be my topics, my subject.
That's awesome. So how did you feel like when after you have done the talk and people come and talk to you, yeah, I have used this, or maybe sometime they have some more question that they need your guidance. How did you help them with that?
Yes, this is super important to keep keep it following up, because if people come to me with lots of questions, for me it means that I need to review my article, include information that it's missing, or I need to update my talk for the next one to give this information. So it's very good after you create a content to hear back what the people are asking to you. So not everything you need to filter. Not everything, not every question means that you need to update your article to include that. But mainly, it's a very good signal if you need to elaborate better your content, or how you're going to grow from that. So then if you see that you're missing lots of information and many people are asking the same thing, I would say update your article and send it to them and say, look, I love your question. And then I included that in my article, and then I have this more detail, or send more resources to them. Usually when I write just something, I put in the end the resources that helped me. So because you are never going to be able to explain everything, but you can give a guide. So you can
Right.
give your introduction, and then you provide your resources so that the person can keep growing from that, and they will define their own pathway, because you teach you teach Amplify that you use it for your blog, and then you give the resources, and this person, no, I'm not gonna build a blog, I'm gonna build another thing, and they can go for it. So two things: listen the question, check if you need to complete, update, do a second article complement that, and provide the resources, so then you can help people to get more information about what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. And we are about time. So I like to close with one question. So for people who want to connect with you or learn more about your work, or if you have anything coming up that you like to let people know, where do they find them, or where did they find you?
Yes, I'm always open on LinkedIn. I'm super active on that. So just send me a
Mm-hmm.
note like, hey, I listened to you with Ned, and then I would love to connect, because it's yeah, sometimes you receive some connections, and then with weird talk, and the message is like, oh, how are you? And say, okay. It happened with me, and it was not good to be, in LinkedIn, and they say, sorry, guy, I think you are in the wrong social media. Maybe you are looking for Tinder or something like that. This is a professional area. I'm here to teach, help people.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any technical question, I'm really happy to help you. So for now, I'm kind of, so send me a note saying that, where are you, you know me, why are you want to connect. And
Mm-hmm.
also there is my blog, so SuzanaMelo.com. So
Okay.
lots of articles, and I'm always open to suggestions. Something that if you are listening to us now, and then you want, I write about woman in tech, career change, tech beginners, cloud foundations, and AWS in general. So and events that you can go and learn, like a reinvent, what user groups, and all these kind of things. And I post a lot on LinkedIn as well. If you want to know anything, or you want me to write about something, just ask me. It will be a pleasure to do that. So yeah, send invitation to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you so much joining us today. Your story is really inspiring, and I know it will resonate with so many people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And as you mentioned, we are part of the AWS programs, like spreading the content and its opportunity. So if you also have any questions about the programs, what are user groups, what are the community builders? Oh, this side. Oh, yeah, here. Community builder, what is this? Yeah, connect with us. It's a pleasure to explain to you what that, and then I'm super glad for the opportunity. Thank you so much for having me.
That's awesome. For listener who enjoy listening for this episode, follow for the podcast and share that with your friend who love cloud and tech. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and stay curious.